Hi Scorpio, welcome back to my channel. It's Christy here to do the monthly reading for your sign for Sun, Moon, and Rising for March 2018. I did just shuffle and get all your cards out, and unfortunately the camera stopped, but I'm just going to continue. These are the cards that jumped out for your 10-card Celtic Cross spread. And this is a general reading for the month of March for you. So we were looking at energy for your sign, influences, and of course people who might be taking part, generally how things are going to be working out for you. But again, apply this as you see fit. And let's dive into it. Sorry for missing the shuffling and the spreading of the cards here. I do want to give a quick shout out to all my subscribers and everyone who has been supporting me all this time. So thank you so much. So let's dive into it. Scorpio, this is your overall energy for the reading for the month. So the Three of Fire, or the Three of Wands, is really just saying your ship is coming in. You've made your plans. Things are finally turning out the way that you wanted them to. I was mentioning as the recording cut off here that there's a great deal of influence that you have over your surroundings, but it could feel uncomfortable because you're so aware of how you're manifesting. And that could lead to a sense of being troubled, or even possibly bothered, or maybe even feel like burdened by it somehow. So let's get into some of the major arcana influences before we get into your spread here. So you do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 major arcana cards. Anytime we're dealing with major arcana, we're basically looking at, enormous energy, right? A great deal of energy that's available to you, or that you could be working with, or that is going to be in your environment for the month. So we do have the Star, which is really wishes, dreams coming true. It could be an Aquarius, and or you could have Aquarius in your chart, or Aquarian energy. So someone who is just looking at the mass of compassion, you sort of brotherhood and sisterhood sort of energy here. We do have the Death card here, which is in the Foundation. So really coming out of something. One door closes, another opens. And again, I pointed out the Magician just a moment ago. We have the Lovers card here. A decision might have to be made, or you could feel torn about something particularly that's being brought to you. Someone's asking you, or you're being asked to make a difficult choice with regard to another person. It could be that you feel pulled in too many different directions here. And then your Wheel of Fortune with your hopes and fears. Yes, you can come out on the other side of this. It just seems like you're willing to accept what you've been working so hard for here, because your long-term outcome is really being the master of your emotions, your feelings, your sense of self, what you have to offer and what you have to give, and what you're willing to accept. So we're beginning here with such a beautiful card for you. The Ace of Water, or the Ace of Cups, is really just being given this pure energy, pure emotion. There's a great deal of spirituality involved here. There could be Source or God, something that feels like God or Goddess energy here. Again, we're dealing with our emotions, okay, our feelings, something that's deep-seated to us, something that's unique to us. And it could be that you're just feeling this month, for example, that like by the grace of God I'm able to do this, or there's a real sense of grace here that represents you. You could be a graceful spirit right now. You could be feeling more comfortable and content with your feelings and the way that you go about expressing those this month, or a need to be able to do this sort of unabashedly. Like you should be able to express this unabashedly. And you'll know, if that's the case, you'll know who is supposed to be in your environment and who isn't, because they have to be able to enjoy this about you, and you have to feel safe around this environment in order to be able to project this. And as I mentioned, your situation is the Star. This could be hopes and dreams, right? An element of protection. You're feeling protected. You're feeling that sort of Aquarian energy where you have so much of something to give that I think the only need for concern or awareness here would be that there's, you could be giving too much attention only in accordance to how someone is appealing to it or accepting it. Like, you are not too much, but the way that it's being received or perceived or accepted, if this is another person in your environment, that it's too much. So again, that's an energy that you would want to avoid. That's someone who can't handle that right now. And that's fine. Try not to get into the place of thinking or organizing that you can control that other person, okay? That's the only caveat here. You're going to want to engage with your month and your environment with grace and with exceptional emotional stability and sort of freedom. So, you don't have to make apologies for that. They can accept that or not. And if this is you and this is internal to you, you're going to have to become comfortable with this. And this could even be a dream or a wish or a goal for you coming true. That yes, you're confident and comfortable, and you can see this moving forward comfortably. Oops, got ahead of myself. Let's look at here with your foundation is the transformation. Of course, this is the death card. The foundation of this is finally saying no to something, right? It's by the grace of God, very often, if not always, that we are able to see something clearly that we weren't able to before. Again, we're dealing with the realm of the emotions, the realm of feeling. So I really feel like something here has been shifted for you, okay? You finally closed the door on something that wasn't working for you, whether it was a relationship, business, travel, right? Personal element of growth, whatever this is for you in a general sense, but something has shifted. And now you're able to see or express this confidently and comfortably. It's just that what's going to occur because of this, as it always does, is that you're going to see your environment in a far more sharp and clear way than you did before. And now you're going to have to make adjustments sort of in the real world here. And here in your recent past, we have your messenger of fire. Of course, this is the Knight of Wands. This is extremely passionate energy. This is a real gung-ho, like I'm coming through with a message, right? I'm coming through with this energy. They're the knight. They're the hero, right? The warrior who's able to bring this in, or you were able to bring this in and be comfortable with this. And this has to do with heart, right? This is passion, not necessarily for in a romance. If it is fantastic, again, apply accordingly, right? But it could be a personal endeavor, personal growth, financial growth. It could be, this has to do with your environment, that you were able to come to terms here recently with a sense of, I'm willing to be this passionate, possibly even spiritually able, okay? Like capable, seeing things in a new light that are going to shift your understanding of the physical or biological or organic world, as it were, okay? So again, there's no pentacles here. There's nothing saying anything that's going on here is influencing you from a biological or organic sense. This is all happening sort of within the heart and the mind, and within your understanding of yourself through your feelings and emotions. So a lot of internal growth here, which is tremendous, because I feel strongly that you've been doing a lot of work in this area, Scorpio. So really excited to see this here for you. So the Knight of Fire is really saying, I'm capable, I'm aware, I'm interested, and I have what it takes to make these changes or to allow myself the message that will help me to grow or expand my sense of self through this passion, through this sense of enlightenment, understanding here. And it's a really glorious, passionate energy. And that's the only fire you have as well. So 1 fire, 1 air, the rest is water. So I do feel very strongly, Scorpio, that this is something that's happening internally for you. Not that it's not going to impact other people. It will, of course it will. We always impact our surroundings by how we feel. But I just feel very strongly that if this was a message from the outside, that it was something you were meant to hear and it was the time and place was divine for you. It could be that the messenger or the knight, as it were, him or herself, is sort of gone. They don't need to be there, but the message that was left with you, or this passion or this influence, is what helped you to get to the next emotional level in your own life. Here we have, in your short-term outlook, the 8 of Swords or the 8 of Air. There is a great deal of sort of mental or intellectual, trying not to say the word disability. There's just something that could be tripping you up here. It's basically your own thoughts, and it's feeling trapped by your own thoughts, but rest assured here you can get yourself out, okay? This is something you need to be able to be more comfortable in this realm. Perhaps you don't like the messages that you've gotten here. You don't like that you are at a new phase or at a new level, the next level, as it were. Perhaps you feel on some level, for any reason, that you weren't prepared for it. Again, I'm seeing this, if that is the issue here, it's strictly within the mind, okay? So you're being, as much as you can influence yourself in a negative way within the mind, you can turn this around, okay? In the traditional tarot, for example, the 8 of Swords is someone who's sort of surrounded by swords in the ground, and there's a little bit of there's a blindfold on them, but their hands are merely behind their backs. They're not they're not prisoner of anyone except for their own thoughts. So you need to set yourself free here from something, Scorpio. Or if something comes up and you don't feel you have what it takes to forge ahead with something that's very exciting for you, door closing, another one opening here, it's just that you perhaps are creating boundaries, or I'm just going to leave it at that. Creating boundaries that you yourself can get yourself out of. Remember perhaps this message or the passion or the spirituality that you had going into the month, because I think this will help you get you out of this sort of mental or intellectual sort of stagnation here, or even a sense of fear. Certainly when we're a novice, when we're starting something new, there's always a sense of, I think it's natural to feel a little bit sort of, you don't know what to do next, right? So just consider yourself a novice at this, if that's the case for you, and there is a sense of grace available to you. You know, maybe get out of the mind and into the heart of the matter, or count your blessings here. Remember to be grateful and graceful, and I think that these types of deleterious thoughts will be eliminated. Here with your present state of the problem, as I mentioned early on, I mean, the Magician is not a problem in and of itself. This is really having the key to unlocking all of your heart's desires, okay? And it's really having everything you need and being aware of what it is, and knowing what's available to you, knowing what you need to do, knowing that you've passed through something that was difficult for you. Your ship has come in, right? You know what to do next, but there's this sense of if there's any issue here with this, or any problem, as it were, it would be almost like there is a, not a tendency necessarily, but there could be a, what's it called when you have a temptation to try to use this type of energy or calculation or mastery over outside events or over other people, including how they think about you, if they like you, if they're going to agree with you, all this stuff, right? So it's really more about, you know, you're going to want to apply this highly intuitive, skilled magician power to yourself. We're going to stop trying to even influence other people at this point. Basically, role and your goal is to get good with God, I guess would be the simplest way to frame all that, right? But you recognize this power for what it is. So, you know, and we do have your hopes and fears here. So I think maybe you're of two minds. Maybe it's almost like, there's definitely a fear involved, though. There's definitely like a mental sort of, you could be talking yourself out of, or maybe if you have been difficult on yourself or hard on yourself these last few months, there could be a sense of, you know, undeserving somehow. You basically something coming up, trying to convince you of something you're not, but you can use this to your advantage here. So, but again, the balance is, because you're between two worlds, or you're coming out of something that you were sort of a master in and now you're a novice, there could be a sense of it's just easier to go back there. I'll just put it that way. But this is saying, you know, no, just you're going to use this energy to move forward. You want to keep going forward, okay? You don't want to go back to what was happening before, what was quote unquote working for you before, because you've come so far here. So here with your outside influences, the Lovers card, this is again sort of a decision needs to be made here. In terms of an outside influence, it could be a Gemini in your own chart in the first 5 planets, Scorpio, or you could be dealing with a Gemini or someone who's presenting a query for you, a question about, you know, making a decision. In their traditional Lovers card, there's a man and a woman sort of guided by this angel, by this outside force here. So this is a little bit of a misnomer with these critters here laying down together. But, and of course we have the 6. So there's just something coming together that you'll need to make a decision about. I suspect very strongly it has to do with your mindfulness, with this sense of, you know, what are you going to choose here, right? Are you going to choose something that's slightly difficult, but you can get through it because you've asked for it and you've worked hard for it and you're passionate about it? Even though you're a novice, it's a little bit weird, maybe uncomfortable because it's new, but you can do it, right? Or are you going to go back to what was easy or what you knew, or are you going to let this sort of anxiety over something you have no quote-unquote control over? There's no such thing anyway. There's only equilibrium, right? That's really, like when we talk about things like control, it's kind of a misnomer. There is no such thing. There's only equilibrium. This is the only control that there is, if there's such a thing. So it's really about what are you willing to walk away from in order to head into? And I know you've been dealing with this for quite some time. Here with your 4 of Cups in your internal influences, this is just emotional dissatisfaction. Again, you could feel like something isn't living up to what you thought it was going to be, or you're disappointed in yourself at this point, that you wanted something more and it's just not working out exactly the way you wanted to, again with this issue of control. I know it's very important for Scorpios as well as it is with Capricorns, to be fair, but again there's this sort of, you know, you have to we have to sort of what's it called, just sort of let things be, particularly here in an emotional sense. You're really well protected here, right? I mean, your emotions are in a good place here, and you understand this grace. So if you feel this is happening internally to you, or you're a little bit dissatisfied here, or you're not sure if these feelings are true, for example, I would say yes, continue in that state of grace. Maybe stop over analyzing if that's what's going on here. Perhaps if a decision does need to be made here as an outside influence, you could say, I'm just going to sit on it. 4s are really about rest. So you could sit on something here, especially if it's not exactly what you wanted to see, or it's what exactly you weren't expecting here. Maybe just sit on it for a little bit, take a rest on it. Don't force something here, particularly if it's emotional, and see how things pan out for you. Because as I mentioned in your hopes and fears, We have our Wheel of Fortune, and again, beginnings and endings. So a cycle is ending for you, okay? So this is the second cycle card for you. This is your foundation. This is your hopes and fears. It could be that this is just new and there's unexpected things that you thought you had a grasp on that you have to work a little bit harder at, or work at understanding, or learn more about yourself. But you know what, Scorpio? I'm learning this in my own life. Everything is a test. Everything. It's supposed to be. I don't really know why. I don't have the answer to that yet. But I do believe that everything in life and in our dream state and in our soul and our spirit is really a test. And I think really strongly here in terms of your hopes and fears, I mean, you can reject this, right? You can treat this like a fear, that a cycle is ending, something new is beginning. Or you can treat it like your hope. Like, yes, I'm ready to go into the future. I'm ready for this new phase, this next phase, this newer part of me, this transformation that I've been working consciously or unconsciously so hard toward. That promises you a great deal of grace and beauty and understanding and compassion. And again, I think that there's just a level of something from the past, maybe being through your own thoughts or through your own anxieties here, just feeling that it's just sort of pulling you back. So I think this could be your biggest task this month, is to, you know, tame that anxiety, tame that feeling of, you know, I'm a little bit unsure about the unknown, but that's the point, right? This is the whole point. You're not supposed to be able to control this, okay? This is about acceptance. This is about letting source lead, or your highest good, or the beauty of grace and understanding, right? But again, I do think it's going to be a choice for you still. I do see you struggling or having some sort of it's almost like you want the best of both worlds. It's almost like you want to live in this, again, however you perceive this sense of darkness. It's not always bad, but there's a sense of maybe the person you were, we'll put it that way, as opposed to the person you're growing into, or the person you're becoming. And it's almost like it could even be seen as childish in a sense, where it's like there could be a clinging, right? And clinging is no good. You don't want to cling this month in particular, because you're able to come out of something really, really huge, and there's nothing in your way except for your own perception of things here. Because, of course, in your long-term outcome is the Queen of Cups. This is you, right? This is mastery over your emotions. So you do have what it takes. You do have this strength. You're an exceptionally strong and powerful, emotional, sensual human being with a lot to offer here. And I think once you accept this, and you accept, perhaps you call it your fate, your goals, your wishes, if that's what it is, or the next phase in your life, however you're framing this, there's this real sense of, you know, I have mastery over this now. I accept this. This is a real level of acceptance of this grace. So maybe make that a little pet project for yourself if you feel that is something that's going on in your life this month in a general sense, and apply accordingly, however this works for you best. So there is your Celtic Cross. Let's get into our advice spread for all couples, singles, and creative projects here. So we're going to use our Romance Angels deck. I hope you enjoy this as well. So we're going to get 5 cards out for you. What does Scorpio need to know with regard to advice this month for romance and creative projects? Advice for Scorpio for March 2018. Advice for Scorpio, March 2018. Advice for Scorpio, March 2018. And as with all my Oracle decks, as you'll notice, anything that's sticking out is now available. So this guy here, I'm just getting more and more practice with these cards and feeling them is so much more important to me than thinking about them. So I just let these little guys do their very important work here. And we just need one more for you. Let's get one more card. Thank you. And of course, we will go backwards. Doodle-doodle-doo, doodle-doo. Here we are. Okay. So Scorpio, as you are, your soulmate. Yes, this is your soulmate. So again, unless this is an actual romance for you, yes, you have found your soul. You're in the right place for you right now. It's just, it could be that the transformation for you has been too sudden, or you didn't expect some portion of it to affect you a certain way, etc. But recognize you are in the right place for you right now. If this is about couples, for example, yes, enjoy your soulmate. For those singling and mingling, this is about being able to see through facade right now and see that you're with the right person for you. And for creative projects, yes, you're on the right path. Here with your, are you on the correct path very soon? Clearly decide what you want so that it comes to you. Of course, right? You have to recognize this for what it is. And if this solely has to do with you, recognize that you are able to bring yourself out of something difficult, out of anxiety, into acceptance. In your main obstacle, this situation involves marriage. I mean, that could put a lot of people off. Unless you're looking forward to a marriage and you're coupled, then this could be exciting for you. This is what you actually want. But it could be coming too soon, too fast, or it could be too far in the distance for you. It's feeling unsettled, so have a conversation with your partner. If you are singling and mingling, this is something that could be long-term for you, and of course for creative projects. This is really beautiful to see because this is about a commitment to a project here. So you'll be committed to working on yourself or a project close to your heart. What is helping you? Children. Your love life is being affected by children. So again, unless you are working in a couple where you do have children, I'm going to suggest that for creative projects or single individuals, this has to do with knowing what is true for you for your inner child, maybe getting in touch with your inner child, what was important to you, perhaps the first 10 years of your life. It could be a really nice indicator about what it is you truly want to do in this life. And then for couples, for example, your love life is being affected by children. If there are no children around you or in your relationship, however, this could have to do with your inner child as well. So what did you desire or want or see for yourself as a child? And how can progress be made? Religious factors. Your love life is influenced by your religious upbringing and spiritual path. A lot of people read this as though it's strictly religious or cultural. I do add that there could be age differences here or distance. Physical, geographic distance in your love life as well. So all those factors could be playing a part in your love life. So for couples, it could be that you're separated for the present time. It won't last. You'll just have to have communication about how to solve that. For people who are single and interested in meeting other people, there could be an age or geographic distance here for you, more so than religious factors. However, there could be religious factors. Again, this is a general reading. And then for creative endeavors, this is really about being impacted by spiritual matters, okay? So again, here with your original Ace of Cups, this is really all about, grace, understanding that what you are about to be creating here is influenced very heavily by religious or cultural conditions, okay? And they could be one and the same, right? Even in a secular country, for example, such as Canada, you can still have spiritual, you don't have to be religious to be spiritual is what I'm trying to say. So religious, you could exchange the word spiritual in religious. Spiritual factors are influencing your love life or your creative pursuits right now. So Unsurprisingly, right? Because these are extremely strong energies anytime we're dealing with source energy. So your final cards are Imagine. I love seeing this for you. This is really the difference between using your imagination to support yourself and to get out of negative imagery or old thought processes here and into something positive, right? It's the Magician. So here we have Imagine, which could be considered an air card or a swords, and then the power of that. So how you're using your imagination right now is very, I would say, utmost importance, because your emotions seem to be relatively stable, okay? Your sense of understanding things on an intuitive or an emotional level. There's just a little bit of a war in the mind here, so use that to your advantage. Don't use it against yourself. Here with self-esteem, absolutely, your self-esteem is being impacted here through this endeavor, and you could feel like you have to give something up, which is usually the case when we develop, okay? When we go through personal growth journeys, we do have to give something up, and it could be what you're clinging to here. So again, the lesson this month for you is to no more clinging. And here, these two jumped out together, enchantment and body care. So it could be that the message around these cards for you is that you're feeling very sensual. There could be a high sensual quotient for you here, particularly near the end of the month, or what your probable outcome allows for you if you're able to get away from something that's been dragging you down mentally or intellectually here. So enchantment awaits you. Yes, something beautiful awaits you. You have what it takes, right? You know what's possible here. You don't want to abuse that power over anything, even your environment, right? You want to keep this internal to yourself. It's like a wisdom, right? It's like the highest intuition and the wisdom here about how to go about using these tools to your advantage. And then body care is really lovely to leave you with here. If you've been neglecting the body on any level, and this includes your teeth, this includes your hair, it includes, of course, even our clothes and the way that we take care of ourselves. It's a really nice time to get back into taking care of ourselves. You're being called to do that. And if you are in process of constantly taking care of your body, for example, you will find that you are able to achieve something else with your body, perhaps another level of achievement in the emotional or the spiritual world through your body. So meditation could be a theme there for you as well. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks so much for sticking with me all this time. I look forward to seeing you for your mid-month check-in. Take excellent care, my dear Scorpios. Bye for now.